Welcome to another edition of In the Winner's Circle. Renee Cairns along with Jennifer Morrison, kindly sponsored by the HPBA of Ontario. They sponsor every edition of In the Winner's Circle. Lots going on this week. It is Queen's Plate weekend, but first let's just quickly recap what you noticed last week in racing.
Well, there was a whole bunch of racing days. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I could pick all kinds of different horses and people. Kevin Attard, Robert Tiller. I just picked out a few big efforts and big events. The Bison City Stakes, won by Original Script. She was the big favorite, and she didn't disappoint. Chiefswood Stables continues a strong role. Of course, Nipissing is
having
one
a
of the
great
favorite.
year.
Yeah, great year.
Yeah.
And Nipissing, one of the favorites for the Queen's Plate. So
What else?
another interesting name is Nick Nozawenko and his dad, Mike. I mean, you gotta love these guys. They've been in the business a long time, and it was fun to hear them talk at the Queen's Plate breakfast today. I know they have a big long shot in the plate, Rackman, but they won 2 races last week, and executive class, a 2-year-old filly, Silent Splash, a maiden 3-year-old filly, and Run to the Bank is a good horse that they have, and they have another 2-year-old coming up this weekend as well. So the Nozawenkos are doing well. And here's the big number. The big number. That's 110 Beyer speed figure. It is the highest Beyer figure run at Woodbine since the Polytrack was put in, and it was delegation.
Really?
Yep, delegation winning the Dominion Day by 9 lengths, breaking the track record for a mile and a quarter. And boy, he was certainly scintillating. And the 6th fastest Beyer figure run by an older horse over 1 mile this year in North America. So he's a Polytrack freak, so hopefully we'll see some more fun stuff from delegation.
I guarantee you we will, and lots of fun stuff coming up on the weekend. We're not going to be able to cover all the stakes in this edition of In the Winner's Circle. We'll start with what's happening on Saturday, though. There's the Sweetbriar 2, the Charlie Barley, and the My Dear, and I think the Sweetbriar 2, the 7th race on the program, looks as though it should be a pretty interesting tilt. It's for 3-year-olds going a flat mile on the EP Taylor Turf Course. It's going to be hot and sticky, but I think the turf course will be firm to maybe a little bit of a cut in it, not Rock Island hard, because we've had a lot of rain actually this spring going into summer.
Yeah, we had rain today. That's why we had to be inside in the tent for the Queen's Plate post position draw. So, yeah, I think the turf course is going to be in great condition for what is an outstanding weekend. The Charlie Barley is a really good field. Now, Dan the Tin Man is entered, and he is a speed horse. But he's also entered in the Highlander Stakes on Sunday. So pay attention to what you might think about how that race is going to shape up. But there's a lot of really good horses in the race, and I'm thinking that Clearly Now is easily the best horse in the race. He's got some big, huge Beyer figures, 98s, 97s from his races in the States. Never been on grass, and the horse Greeley's actually, he hasn't had many. That sire hasn't had many grass runners, and he hasn't had any grass winners yet. But Clearly Now's mother won 3 races, all in the grass, and her first foal is a grass winner. So I think it's Clearly Now's race to win. He must be moved at the right time. I noticed that he looks like a horse that if you don't move him at the right time, he can get a little bit caught at the end there. I think for your triactor, your horses that you should include is, I know the horse that you like, Kid Dreams, and Golden Saber, a scintillating maiden winner for Samson Farms. I think that's your 3 horses for the triactor.
My try is 7, 9, 11. I like Gentleman's Kitten, 3-year-old son of Kitten's Joy, going for Wayne Catalano, has raced 3 times and has 2 victories. So 7, 9, 11 is the winning try box for the Charlie Barley.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Getting on to Sunday, this is Queen's Plate Day, 154th renewal. Just to let you know, early post time of 12:25. There are 12 races that will be run at Woodbine on that day. The final post is at 6:50. One of the biggies on the program, got the Clarendon for the younger horses, Dance Marley, Singspiel, Highlander, and then the Queen's Plate, the Clarendon going a 5.5 for the boys, and that's an Ontario bred race.
Yeah, it's a 2-year-old race early in the card. We want to focus on the later ones. I think the Clarendon Stakes from the 1-hole, Go Greeley is going to be a heavy favorite in there. He's a colt that actually missed a 2-year-old stake race because he was stuck in the quarantine.
Right. Didn't bother Original Script, though,
Didn't bother Original Script, and I think for a 2-year-old who's showing a lot of potential, I think Go Greeley, the Clarendon, is his for sure. But let's start maybe
Dance Smartly.
Dance Smartly, grade 2, a mile and 1/8. We've got some nice shippers in for races this weekend, and the Woodbine Racing program is as strong as ever. I think some interesting horses. Obviously, Irish Mission is the local hope. She hasn't won yet since her big Breeders' Stakes win last year, but she's certainly come close. She rematches with Solid Appeal. They were 1-2 in the Nassau Stakes going a mile. Who will like a mile and an eighth better? And the way this race sets up, I think it's going to be Irish Mission, but a Solid Appeal is an upwardly mobile horse. In fact, I actually think those two might be in a little bit of trouble with a horse by the name of Julie's Love in the field for Graham Motion. Alan Garcia comes in to ride this 5-year-old mare, and I think she, throughout her last race, the Sheepshead Bay at Belmont on soft turf, she won a stakes race at Belmont before that, going a mile and a quarter.
Quality horse.
And, this looks like a horse that's a 5-year-old mare that's just getting good right now. So I think Julie's Love is a very dangerous horse for the combo chasing her Irish Mission and Solid Appeal.
My long shot play is going to be Moment of Majesty. She was second to Marketing Mix, a champion in last year's race where she closed well. She had Inglorious in behind her. She came out of that race to take the Belle Mahone. She had won the Zadra Carta just before that, but I think she could be in for a pretty nice effort, so you might want to put her in on one of your tickets as far as throwing in a value horse.
Well, she was second in the race last year at 23-1. Now, she was recently bought privately by Nat Rea of King City and his family, Regis Farms. This will be their second starter only for that farm. They're white and red and blue maple leaf silks.
It'll be a very interesting tilt. Then we get to the 1.5 mile Singspiel. This is really a crowd pleaser because the gate is right at the wire, so they do one complete circle of that E.P. Taylor turf course. Is it all about Forty de Marmy?
Well, I mean, he loves Woodbine. This is a 7-year-old gelding, and we know how trainer Roger Atfield does with these older geldings, the Spice Routes and the Musketeers, all these old guys.
The
Samards. Fort de Marmy was wandering at Keeneland this year and Pimlico, and
wandering.
Well, he was vanned off in one race for heaven's sakes, and Roger doesn't even know what's going on there. Look at these workouts though since he got back to Woodbine: 46 flat breezing, 48 flat, 58 and 1 breezing. Now I realize it's on the training turf, which can be firm, but I mean he loves Woodbine turf course. He won the Sky Classic Stakes when he returned to Woodbine last summer, and to be perfectly honest, this is a very weak edition, I think, of the Singspiel. There's a lot of speed horses in the race. There's a filly in the race. Ardara just broke her maiden. Some upper claimers. Serious Indeed, allowance horse. I think Fort de Marmy, I think it's pretty much all about him. I'm thinking that the little sneaky horse in there, though, is this younger horse, Patriotic and Proud. He won the Toronto Cup last year at a mile and eighth on the grass. And that's Cassian De Silva. So I'm thinking a 1-2 in the Singspiel. Remember, that 8th race starts off the $200,000 guaranteed pick 4 going into the Queen's Plate race.
Long shot play for me perhaps could be Aldous Snow with John Velasquez riding for Malcolm Pierce. I think that's going to be a pretty interesting race. We cut way back in distance for the 9th race on the program, and that is the Grade 2 Highlander going 3/4. You mentioned that Dan the Tin Man was entered on Saturday in the Charlie Barley, and also cross-entered into the Highlander coming from post 3.
Well, there's 13 horses entered in the race, whether he runs a 3-year-old or not. I mean, this is a tough race with a lot of speed. Reed Baker's entered 4 horses in the race. I have no idea whether he's intending to run all 4, but I think one of them could be any kind of horse, and that's number 9, Go Blue or Go Home. He's listed at 6-1 in the morning line. If you get 6-1 in the morning line on this Go Blue or Go Home horse, you should go to the bank or go home. This is a serious horse now. He won this Presque Isle Stakes race, 5.5 furlongs on the poly track, and got into all kinds of trouble. And just got out in time and drew off and won with a 97 Beyer figure. He loves sprinting on the grass at Woodbine. This is a good horse. Something Extra is obviously the proven horse.
Yeah, he's a speed too. He's tough to catch.
He's tough to catch, and he likes 5 furlong, 6 furlong, 6.5. So Something Extra is a good horse. Go Blue or Go Home. If you get 6-1, even if you get 4-1, I say he's a
pretty
great
good value.
And I like the 4-1 shot, the 1-horse Night Officer to fill the triactor there.
Next question from the outside post. Mike Trombetta brought her here to take the Nearctic in October, and she did so at 16-1. You can throw out her last race. It was on a sloppy track at Belmont, and now the son of Stormy Atlantic, is back on the grass.
Yeah, well, but he's a speed horse most of the time. When he breaks well, he likes to be on the lead, and I just see way too many horses going to the lead in this race, whether Dan the Tin Man runs in the race or not. I mean, you're going to have Executive 5 and your Fatal Bullets and your Bear No Jokes and your Something Extras. I think it's no. I'm not looking for a speed horse in the Highlander.
Queen's Plate is the big daddy on the card, 154th renewal. Last week we started a new feature, 2 Minutes With. We had Paula Tard talking about original script. She went on to win the Woodbine Oaks. Today after the draw, I caught up with the Canadian editor of the Daily Racing Form, Bill Talon, and asked him for 2 minutes on the Queen's Plate. Here it is.
Good morning. I've just attended the Queen's Plate draw here in Woodbine, and field of 12 was entered. I don't think the post position draw really is going to come into play that much, but what everybody was talking about when they chose their post positions today was the lack of pace in the race, which is something I thoroughly agree with. I think the probable pace setter, Midnight Araya, will be on the lead, but I don't think the horse can carry the speed of mile and a quarter, even with the help of a speed favoring track. I think he got run down in the Wand and the Plate trial with reasonable fractions, and I just don't see the mile and a quarter being within his scope. The outside horse, River 7, is a stablemate, and he's the other horse I would see as a potential pace factor. He's fairly fresh and showing some speed in the past, but I don't see them getting hooked up in a speed duel together. So we come back to the question of pace and traffic, and the obvious horse, I think, let's face it, is the favorite, Up With the Birds. He has a turn of foot I think a lot of these other horses don't have. A lot of them are kind of pluggers. They'll keep coming, they'll get them on a quarter, but whether they'll get there in time is a serious question. But, just on a matter of principle, I cannot make a favorite my first selection. And I think the Woodbine Oaks was actually a better race than the Plate trial in my estimation. I mean, it's not just because the buyer figure was slightly higher. When the Plate trial on the field is bunched up the way it was, with the 8th horse only about 7 lengths behind the winner, that's sometimes a sign of rather than a very competitive, high quality bunch, not a great bunch. So I'm going to go a little out of the box here, and I'm going to go with Spring in the Air, because she was second in the Oaks. I think she will get overlooked in the Plate. Her 10-1 morning line would be lovely to see. So I'm going to go Spring in the Air, the Oaks winner Nipissing second, and Up With the Birds third. And that's and if you want to play a super, I think Midnight Araya might hang on for fourth. So if I'm right, I'll be rich.
So, okay. He's giving Up With the Birds a shot, but it's not going to be his pick. He likes the fillies coming out of the Oaks.
Well, I mean, the Oaks was a very good race, and the Plate trial was marginally slower. The races were run pretty much exactly the same. The difference is that Nipissing was drawing off from her field, which included original script, whereas Dynamic Sky and his race to win were sort of, bebopping and head bopping into the wire there. I think Up With the Birds is perhaps, a little bit better than any of these 3-year-olds. I love the fact that he's had 6 weeks off.
Yeah, lots of time.
Obviously the big story with Up With the Birds, and I know Malcolm Pierce isn't superstitious, but when was the last time that the Coronation Futurity winner won the Plate?
Oh, boy.
1975. Now, is that just because we've had lots of Coronation Futurity winners that have come back and run second and third in the Plate? Is it just overdue, or is that really a jinx? I don't know. Malcolm Pierce says his horse has progressed nicely. I think Up With the Birds is marginally better. I think Pyrite Mountain he's my favorite, and
my dragon fruit fell over.
We gotta watch out for the dragon fruit.
Okay, sorry, go.
And I think Pyrite Mountain is a legitimately good horse, but he's gonna need some pace. And I'm pretty sure that some of these guys in the Plate are hoping that some of the horses in the Highlanders stick around and maybe set some pace.
Yeah, because Midnight Area, lone speed, but again, Bill talks about the fact that he's been caught before, and a mile and a quarter might just be a little bit outside of what he wants to do. Nipissing was very impressive winning the Oaks. She's come back to work extremely well. She seems to be a filly that has great composure, and on a very hot day, a very busy day, and a very crowded day, I think those are three things that could be the undoing of many horses.
Well, you certainly have to watch them as they go through all the big, the crowd and the paddock and the walking ring, and then go out onto the track. I think Nipissing, Up With the Birds, and Pirate Mountain are the legitimate horses. Like I said, I still think it's Up With the Birds race. Interesting too. Malcolm Pierce was saying today that don't get him wrong. His race to win, he's not in the race to be a rabbit. But he's gonna be close to the pace.
He will be close to the pace and up with the birds. He's got that style where he just comes flying from off the pace, and there isn't.
The bird flies,
and that is a concern because there is not a whole lot of early foot in here. So it'll be interesting to watch the dynamics. There's lots of time. Post position in a field like this, 1.25 miles, you got a long way down the lane before you have to set yourself up for that clubhouse turn. So it'll be interesting to see how the jockeys dictate their positions. The Gonzalez outfit have Midnight Area from the inside. They've also got River 7 from the outside. I caught up with Nick Gonzalez at the draw, and he is our subject of things you don't know about certain individuals. And I asked him how he got into racing, and it was actually his childhood sweetheart's father that owned horses at Fort Erie and took him to the races, and that's how he got involved.
Ah.
He got his first winner at Commodore Downs.
Commodore
Downs. Back in 1974 with a horse called Black Echo. His 1,000th victory was with Boca Pass, and that was just about 2 weeks after he won the plate with Big Red Mike.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that would be 2010.
2010. And his favorite group is Maroon 5. He said, people are going to find that interesting because man of my age, they probably don't think that Maroon 5 is my type of group, but that is his favorite group, Maroon 5.
I wonder if he'll be betting on Jagger M. Never mind.
Yeah, okay. This is another edition of In the Winner's Circle. Lots to look forward to this weekend. Again, the Queen's Plate is the Big Daddy, 154th renewal. Thank you to the sponsorship of the HPBA of Ontario for this edition and every edition of In the Winner's Circle. Again, you can follow us on Twitter. There's a look at our Twitter addresses. And I didn't really get any hate mail or any kind of mail at all from last week.
I don't think anybody knew I exist.
Oh, they know you exist.
Okay.
Good luck with your handicapping this weekend. Have a lot of fun because there is some good racing going on.